Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I want to do a quick comparison of two pens from Benu. Benu is a pen company known for doing pens that are, or making pens that are quite out there. Really bold designs and shapes and interesting things and glow in the dark and super interesting materials. And I have two of their pens here. I have the Talisman in the beautiful foxglove material, which I adore. And here I have the Euphoria in the caviar material. Now there are multiple materials of these pens available, and I'm not going to necessarily be talking about the materials today, other than the fact that they both consist of combinations of a number of colors and then swirls of like a complementary color of glitter or shimmer in the material. Today, basically what I want to do is show the pens as they are relatively modest pens from Benu, show their design features and their what they've got in common. So if we look at the pens side by side, you see that the Talisman is a smaller model. Both are faceted, but whereas the Euphoria model has facets that run like the entire length of the pen, only broken by that section, the Talisman, the facets are kind of like set at angles from each other. So the facet will run along and then will split, into two facets. It's a great way to show it with the way the light hits it like that. So you can see, how the facets are alternating across the entire body of the pen. Once again, only broken by that section. But the Talisman is a smaller pen. It also has a slightly rounder end cap here, which I can show you. So the Euphoria is slightly flatter as opposed to the slightly rounder version on the Talisman. Both have the clip cut in, and the clips are basically, I think, more or less the same clip. One of the big differences is that the clip is sort of set into the Euphoria model there, like there's a little divot in that facet so that it sits more straight down on the pen. It doesn't stick out quite so far, which is a design feature that I like. It's sleek and it's smooth. They both have a steel number 6 Schmidt nib, and I've got them both in a medium, and I'll do a writing sample with both so you can see them in action. And they're both beautiful nibs. In fact, they write both pretty flawlessly and very similar, as you would expect. And they are both standard international cartridge converter pens, as you can see here on the Euphoria. As I said, the Talisman is a smaller pen model, and when it is uncapped like that, it's actually not that far off. Probably the big difference in terms of the size is there's behind the threads here, behind the threads there, there's just a little half a centimeter or so of more of that black material. And that is the difference really in the length of the pen. The pen barrel and the body is about the same size, the Euphoria being a little bit girthier, but it gets that extra bit of length in the pen due to that little extra section of material just there. And then the caps are similar sort of thing, slightly longer there on the Euphoria to make up for that little bit of extra material there. But they're both lovely pens in the hand. You can still see the Euphoria is a much larger pen. I like to think of the Euphoria as kind of like the big mature brother, if you will, of the Talisman. Both are really, really great pens, and as I said, I'll do a writing sample with them in just a second, but this is how you can see them, and the differences, or the more to the point, the similarities between these two pens. Okay, time for that writing sample now, and we'll start with Euphoria. Caviar model. Now, I've done full reviews of both of these pens, which I'll link to down below. Number 6, Schmidt steel nib, medium, and the ink is Diamine Oxford Blue. So it is a very smooth nib. It feels great on the page. It lays down a very nice line. And I would say it's pretty wet. Like, it writes definitely on the wetter side. Something I have found with these Schmidt nibs recently is that they are writing wetter and smoother than any other sort of Schmidt nibs I have experienced over the years. And Benu seem to have like some of the best of those. Unlike the Euphoria model, I choose to write with the Talisman posted a little bit more. It's not that it's a bad size in the hand like that, but it does feel quite comfortable and quite well balanced when it is posted. So let's do the writing sample with that. This also has a number 6 Schmidt steel medium nib. And the ink in this one is also Diamine Oxford Blue. Shouldn't be any surprise there. It's one of my absolute favorite inks. This pen writes at least as smooth. There might be a touch more feedback on this nib than the other one. But I think it's probably equally as wet. You know, it writes beautifully well. I don't know if Benu, you know, tuned the nibs for these pens in-house, but we are getting beautifully tuned Schmidt nibs from them. So yeah, I think probably the only difference in terms of these two nibs is that there's just a tiny little bit more feedback on the one I have here in the Talisman Foxglove fountain pen. So as I said, I have done full reviews of both of these pens in the past, and this wasn't designed to be a full review of either of them, just showing them side by side, the different sizes and the different formats, and a quick writing sample with both. Which do I prefer? Well, personally, I think I prefer the Euphoria. I think that slight bigger size and the way it feels in your hand unposted feels really nice. I also kind of think that for my taste, this shape being that little bit more simple or clean is a really nice design in my mind. I enjoy that a lot. Also, it does have the slightly smoother nib of the two. But they're both decent value pens. They kind of sit, Benu pens generally, I think, kind of sit at the top end of the price point that they should run at. But you are getting pens that write well, that are made well, that look interesting, and they're fast becoming favorites in the fountain pen industry with good reason. So check out my full reviews of these. A big thank you to Benu for providing these pens over the last few years for me to review. I like doing these little comparison videos because it gives me a chance to show a couple of options from a brand. And if you're toying up between these two, as they are relatively similar in terms of being, I suppose, as I said, more traditional pen designs from Benu, this video might just give you a bit of an idea as to what you could expect from both. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, get in touch if there's anything you'd like me to look at, or if there's a way you'd like to support the channel. I would love to hear from you. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.